Dwann B. Black History Commercial, take 1.
And in comes the 2 to the 3 and 4.
Hold up. Celebrate our warriors and scholars. Black history on a t-shirt. Black people don't owe anybody anything but an ass whooping. Yeah. Mothers of the movement, our scholars. Instead of wearing a sports jersey with someone else's name on your back, celebrate our leader's name on your chest.
Say it with your chest.
Get yours now at hotepish.com/shop. Free shipping on all orders over $75. Also, get your Black American Music Family Tree at incenseandashtrays.com/shop. 400 years of music created here in North America exclusively by Black Americans on one piece of artwork.
We live?
Yes.
All right, I'm over here trying to share this. Hey, y'all, make sure y'all share this to your social media and all that good shit.
Social medias.
I'm sharing it to my Discord group right now, and I encourage you to do the same. Share it to your Discord, your Twitter, your YouTube, your Facebook. Instagram be acting like hoes, not letting niggas share links, but post it in your story and then hit link and then do it that way. Instagram is a selfish bitch, ain't she?
Yeah, she's
like, everybody else be like, Caffeine be like, go ahead and share. Why not? You know, not enough YouTube hoes too. You know what I mean? But Twitter, Facebook, you got a link? Share the link. Why not? Instagram be like, man, use my bitch. I ain't sharing you with nobody. Oh, yeah. And talk about some pimping. Goddamn, Instagram, why y'all so insecure?
Choosing lover.
Yeah, choosing lover. Hell yeah. That's the Isley Brothers. That's a song that Aaliyah remade.
I'm so glad you. Hey, come on.
Showed me. Ronald Isley been having that ponytail for a minute. Ronald Isley's one of those brothers that he aged well. You know what I mean? He went to prison and came out looking younger. Like, how do you look younger with a gray beard? Like, we got to give Ronald Isley his credit. His first hit was in 1959.
Okay.
He the only person that's had a hit. He used to hold the record, a #1 hit in 6 decades. Now he has a #1 hit across 7 different decades, y'all.
He's contagious.
Man. And you know, he looked younger with a great beard. Because I remember when we was kids, I forgot what song that was out like in the early, it was one of his Isley Brothers songs that was out in the 90s. And I remember when we got BET, me, my brother, and my sister, we watching Video Soul. And you see, look at that. Look at that. He got Roland Martin style hair.
Oh no,
he got
not
Roland Martin hair.
He went to my high school. Shout out to Roland Martin.
See, Ronald Isley, you know, and then I remember when we was kids, he used to have this. Me, my brother, and my sister would laugh at him because he had to. It was like we was like, who is this old dude with thick ass eyebrows and a ponytail? I remember we was laughing like I was like, this motherfucker eyebrows look like thumbs. Why is them things he could look into the sun and not squint? And then my dad came walking through. He was like, oh, shit, y'all watching the Isley Brothers. We was like, who? He was like, the Isley Brothers. You know that music I be listening to, Summer Breeze? We was like, that's the dude that be singing In Between the Sheets and Summer Breeze? We was like surprised because all we saw was this whole thick eyebrow nigga. And we was like, who is he? He looks like he stalks pigeons. No, that we was kids. I was like 10 or 11. I didn't know. You know what I mean? I didn't know who that old dude was. But then my dad, thank God for my father. My father, like a real father, sat me down and showed me who the Isley Brothers and who Ron Isley really was. You know? Thank God for my father. He was just a thick eyebrow nigga to me. And now he got a whole new hit out in 2022.
Yes, sir.
Still making hits. Salute to Ronald the King Isley.
And he like 80?
He like 82, 83? Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, man, you don't know, like my favorite era of the Isley Brothers, Isley Brothers was when Chris Jasper was producing them from 72 to 84. That era, I remember my dad used to always say every summer they knew the Isley Brothers was going to drop an album every June. It was like when school was letting out and as the summer was hitting, you knew you was going to have the Isley Brothers to get you through the summer. And when you go back and listen to their music, man, that's some of the best music you've ever heard in your life. Stands the test of time. And my only wish is that Beyonce stop remaking these classics.
Thank you. Someone has to say it.
Please. Like, I love you, Beyonce. You know, you're a queen at what you do. But stop tearing up good-ass music with your same vocals. And I'm not disrespecting your vocals.
Same vocal.
But how did them white boys known as the Bee Gees and Sarah Song, the white lady, how did they sound 80 times more smooth than you, Beyonce? You let white folks out-smooth you on the song Emotion. If you're going to remake, because that song Emotion, now get it out, that is the top level of white smoothness. It don't get more smoother for white folks than Emotion by the Bee Gees and Sarah Song.
Oh, yeah.
But you black. You can't let them Australian motherfuckers outdo you. And they did. The Bee Gees, Beyonce, your remake was trash. And then she remade, I forgot the name of that song that Destiny Child remade, but there was a remake of a song by the Dramatics called Oceans of Thoughts and Dreams. When I'm by myself sometimes, a million thoughts run across my mind. Man, I love that shit. And then Beyonce, they remade it, and it was like horrible. Then the worst was Before I Let Go.
Oh my God. People will fight you back home in Houston.
Well,
talking about Beyonce, but at the same time, I have to say it. I can't. It was super trash.
Hey, Houston, no, certain shit you don't defend. And I stand with my Philadelphia, Oakland, and New Orleans brothers in the defense of Frankie Beverly and Maze. The people in New Orleans that kill y'all niggas over here trying to fuck around with Frankie Beverly and Maze. They love that man. We do too here in L.A. We love Frankie Beverly.
Well, he needs to stop touring.
No, he doesn't need to stop touring. Frankie Beverly ain't been able to sing in 15 years. But, you know, on February 14th, it's February 18th, you know where I'm going, Sarah?
You're going to see Frankie
To
Beverly.
see Frankie Beverly and Maze and the Isley Brothers, downtown L.A. That show was just announced last week. I'm getting my goddamn tickets.
Oh, I mean, of course. I mean, it's going to be an amazing concert because everybody around you are going to know every word to every song, and that's how you have fun and get drunk and meet people.
I remember back in 2018, I saw Frankie Beverly and Maze at the Greek Theater, July 15th. Sold that motherfucker out. And then the next month, he was right back at the Gardena Jazz Festival. Sold that hoe out too. He couldn't sing a lick.
Of nothing.
But the band sounded good. And we helped him along. He was over there singing like, he was like, happy feelings in the air.
But he had on the baddest linen suit probably you ever seen.
Yeah, he was like, judging people. But we was right there with him. Happy feelings in the air. Nigga, you don't fuck over. Now, I see why Frankie Beverly let Beyonce do it. He probably just made $48 million off of it. So I get it for money purposes. But Beyonce, now I'm not going to speak to Beyonce because Beyonce made a lot of money. I'm not mad at you, Beyonce. Beyonce fans, Beehive, that shit is trash. And it's an abomination to music. Why that woman touched Frankie Beverly and Maze, I don't know. But you motherfuckers defending it. Y'all the reason why she keep taking classic music and fucking it up. Because you Beehive motherfuckers going around acting like she's infallible and can't do no wrong. Look, she could do her music all day. Never gonna begrudge Beyonce. Make all the music you want. But when you touch my classics, I got something to say. fucking up Frankie Beverly and Maze. All Frankie Beverly and Maze did was bring people together through his music.
Exactly.
And now you want to do Before I Let Go? No, here. Let me tell you something. Before you let go, think about it. Let go doing classic music. Think about that before you finally let it go. How many classic songs you done fucked up? That's just what I gotta say when it comes to that.
Frankie Beverly and Maze music though, go with a cookout like a EBT card. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody out there freestyling with the food and everything, having a good time. But I have a problem with, you feel like how I feel about Silk Sonic doing Confunction songs and other things like that.
Yeah. Bruno Mars did not sound like Michael Cooper at all, but go ahead.
Not at all. Because, I mean, they look like niggas that's skating. Like and they, on a Saturday, and they 14 years old with their girlfriend trying to impress them with a press in their hair. But it's not the same conviction.
Here it is.
Of the classics. The men back then actually really wanted the woman to know. They act like they didn't have a microphone, so they had to growl from their toenails up. Yeah.
He sounded like he was taking the shit on the original version.
Exactly.
If by chance. Doom. That's what it sounded like. But no, you're right. Because Confunction is out of Northern California, Bay Area. You know, I don't want to say Oakland, because if I say Oakland, then it's going to be Vallejo niggas talking about. And let me tell you, Oakland niggas, all that shit is just one small little ass area. If we ain't from that area, Oakland, Vallejo, Berkeley, it's all the goddamn same to the rest of us, all right? Don't get mad. We love y'all. But I ain't about to get in a fight because I misquoted a city that's goddamn 6 blocks apart.
That is correct, Alan.
Or across a goddamn piece of water. Shit. Well, I'm going to say Bay Area. Confunction is a band out of the Bay Area. And I love the Bay Area when it comes to music because it's so diverse. And we must never forget Confunction. And as I talk to you guys more here on Caffeine, we're going to have some music talk with y'all because we got to set some of this music talk straight. It's a lot of you hip-hop niggas over here that don't know shit about music outside of hip-hop. So I'm going to have to put y'all up on some game when it comes to this shit.
Well, you see the comment here, do they supposed to sound exactly, so you supposed to sound exactly like the original? No, you at least need to sound better.
No.
Or good.
Here, let me answer that, Sarah. Let me answer that. Mm-hmm. Confunction comes from the north, the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. They had a certain grit and a grind. They were a really good band. They took off when Skip Scarborough became their manager. Skip Scarborough is a songwriter who wrote "Giving You the Best That I Got," "Love's Holiday" by Earth, Wind & Fire, "Love Ballad" by LTD, and a lot of hits. "Don't Ask My Neighbor" by The Emotion. He was a songwriter, and he became their manager. And then when he became their manager, they really took off. Why am I saying all this? The music production is grand. It's like the music out of the 70s had a certain effort and a certain soul and a certain level of love put into it, to where if you're not going to put that level of love and soul into it, if you can't commit that level of love and soul into the music, just let it go. Honor the music. That's all I'm saying. Don't take a song that was orchestrated properly with strings and horns and arrangements and vocal arrangements, no auto-tune, real voices. Don't take that and strip it down into some plastic-ass sound and you ain't got no background vocals, you ain't got no horns, you ain't got no strings. You didn't put none of the tender love and care into the music.
I'm just going to do the acoustic version.
Yeah, no, that's lazy. No. Hire an arranger and make that shit pop. Give us what we need as human beings. Music is healing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so going back, see, I like the Silk Sonic part. I like Anderson .Paak. Anderson .Paak has soul. He has the grime. He has the grit to his voice. Bruno Mars, I'm glad we talked about this, Sarah, because I really didn't know what the fuck I want to talk about. I'll send you some videos, but I talked about some of that stuff on my YouTube channel, so I don't really want to repeat myself. So I'm glad we're here. So off the top of my head, we don't go with it. We don't go with it.
I'm for it.
I'm going to let the spirit take me where I go.
My Lord. Jesus.
So look, let me tell y'all something. What happened with our music as black people is we stopped the industry stopped allowing us to play our music. And this has been a protracted thing over the last 40 years, where we're talking about Confunction and Frankie Beverly and Maze and the Isley Brothers, and how all of that music had a certain tender loving care to it. Because to orchestrate music in the 70s, see, nowadays people are just used to opening up a computer and taking a sample pack here, sample pack there, and I have live drum sample packs right now on swagsample.com. So I record my own sample packs. So I'm not, I put them out there, but mine's are live drums, So I know how it works. People are used to just one person being able to put these things together, now you got a song. When R&B was done right, you had your writers, you had your composers, you had your arrangers, and you had your bands. So a song not only would have a live band, drums, bass, keys, guitar, sometimes 3 guitars, depending on how many layers you needed. You also had orchestration. I talked to my father-in-law, Mr. Carmichael, about, different songs that I asked him, like, how many strings would you use? He's like, sometimes it might just be a section of 3 strings. Sometimes it might be a full 72-piece orchestra. Yes. And that's the music. When you go back and listen to that early Michael Jackson, he composed that music. I'll Be There, all that early Jackson 5, Michael Jackson stuff. He was the arranger composer that put a lot of that music together. And so when you go back and listen to I'll Be There, you hear this full orchestra behind Michael Jackson playing just underneath the music so that you hear it, but it doesn't overtake the music, but you feel it in your soul and it swirls your emotion. And that's what it takes to genuinely produce rhythm and blues music. Rhythm and blues require, what's the first word of R&B? Rhythm. It's not rhythm and beat. It's not quantize and blues. It's rhythm and blues. The rhythm is the orchestration, the composition, the horns, the strings, the background singers. Do you know about a group named the Andantes? No. See, it's such a shame that we don't know who these 3 black women are. The Andantes. They sang background on over 20,000 songs between 1958 and 1992. The Andantes, when you thought you were listening to the Temptations, that was actually the Andantes singing some of those songs. The 4 Tops. The Supremes, a lot of that Diana Ross and the Supremes music, it's the Andante singing the harmonies in the background, not the 3 women that you see on stage. Wow. It's the Andante that was behind Michael Jackson. It was the Andante that was behind Marvin Gaye and the What's Going On. What's going on? All that background, when he goes to the bridge, ooh, that beautiful melody. That's these 3 black women.
Well, also it's just. Go ahead. I'm sorry. So you're your flow. Go ahead.
But that's
because Luther Vandross concerts, like a lot of people go for the band, because their band was just extraordinary as he was, especially the background singers.
I'm glad you brought up Luther Vandross because he had the Hawkins singers as his background singers. Off of 3 people. When you listen to "Get the Love That You've Been Missing," sometimes love takes a long snare. That song. It sounds like a fucking choir. That's 3 people singing, y'all. 2 women and 1 man. When you listen to that song, I remember I thought that was a whole ass choir singing that. It's 3 people. And he had Paul Reiser as an arranger. Paul Reiser, if you ask me, he's on the level of Beethoven.
Absolutely.
Because Paul Reiser wrote those strings. When you listen to that, early Luther Vandross, didn't you know that and all that stuff? You hear those chilling strings behind it. And then you got Marcus Miller on bass, who was the producer. Marcus Miller's the person that did the Boomerang soundtrack, amongst a whole lot of other good-ass music. But he played the bass for Luther. He was Luther's producer. So you got the dynamic between Marcus Miller on bass, you got Paul Reiser on arrangements, and you got people like Greg Fillinganes on keyboard. Y'all, niggas don't even know who Greg Fillinganes is. Greg Fillinganes is the most recorded artist in music history. And he held that title 10 years ago. And he's still recording now. I just saw him this past Friday at Corey Henry's concert. He came and got on stage. He was the guy, if you remember that show, Vibe?
Yeah.
Mouse, the band director, that was him.
Oh, Mouse.
All of those old Michael Jackson, he was always Michael Jackson's music director. All the Bad Tour, all of the Michael Jackson tours, Greg Fillinganes was the music director. He's also the person who, we listened to that song, Can't Help It, on the Off the Wall album. I can't help it if I wanted to. That song?
Yeah.
That's a Stevie Wonder composition. And that song...
Oh, it's not, I can pick that, yeah.
Yeah, but it had a more Latin feel to it. It kind of had, it played Latin chords. It was Greg Fillinganes that came in, threw them Latin chords out, and switched up into the doom, 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 doom. And that groove you hear, doom, 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 that's the groove that Pharrell samples on, what's that song by Pharrell? Pharrell uses that sample a lot.
What, Happy? Is it Change Clothes and Pose?
Change Clothes.
Yeah.
No, it's the other one. It's a few songs where Pharrell flips that doom, 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 doom. It's the bridge on one of his songs that dropped on the...
they say frontin'.
Frontin', yeah. You should stop frontin'. Yeah, that song, frontin'. That's Greg Fillinganes. Niggas in hip-hop don't even know half of your goddamn chords that you hear in hip-hop come from Greg Fillinganes.
Probably so, yeah.
Or Bernie Worrell from Parliament Funkadelic. Or Junie Morrison from Ohio Players and Parliament Funkadelic.
And Roy Ayers.
Roy Ayers, yeah, all that. When Roy Ayers, a lot of those chords go into your more neo-soul.
Yeah.
And like jazzy soul, your Common, Talib Kweli, Erykah Badu. That sound is more Roy Ayers chords. Well, anyway... Why am I saying all this? Because when I give you guys answers, I like to give you thorough answers that you can go and research. So I'm not just giving you a one-word answer and saying, go figure it out. I want to give you context to what I'm saying, so my answers are long on purpose, all right? I'm not just blabbing. We need people to have, what do they call it? Long attention spans again. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Dwann Brown is not the person for the 30-second attention span, nigga.
You're a home-cooked meal, not a microwave. Yes. If you want... No fast food over here.
Yeah, no fast... If I eat fast food, I ain't giving it to you. Well, actually, I don't even eat it no more. I stopped eating fast food like 3 months ago. Yeah. But
do you know the reason why... I guess the reason why Luther Vandross was so into... his have exceptional background singers, because he was one. But if you notice... Luther Vandross always did because almost all of his songs were covers.
Well, I won't say almost all of them.
I mean, a lot of the famous ones, because he took a lot of Dionne Warwick songs and stuff like that. But he always made it his own.
Yeah, Luther did, because you got to realize most singers aren't right there on. Some singers right there on music, most don't. You know, you're at the will of your production team and your label, what they will allow you to put out there. You know what I mean? So yeah, but we can't forget Luther had a lot of original hits too. You know what I mean? But why am I saying all this about, we're going back to Bruno Mars.
Mm-hmm.
The music, when we did it, had a certain level of refinement. So what the industry did was, as you got through the 80s, they first took away the background singers. They took away, they first took away the string arrangements. When you get to the 80s, no more strings. Mostly everything's synthesized. The strings are the emotion of the music. All music has the 4 elements of life: earth, air, water, fire. And the strings are the air. That's why the music flows through the strings. Sometimes the strings can even be out of time. They just create a music bed. And then they can also play on top. And the strings is what swirls their emotion. A good example is the song Rocket Love by Stevie Wonder. That's, if you want to look up that song, you got me running in your rocket, made me stop. But when you hear those strings, that's another Paul Reiser arrangement. The same person I talked about on Luther Vandross and Tina Marie, Paul Reiser, he arranged those strings. And when you listen to Rocket Love by Stevie Wonder, you can't help but feel the love and feel the passion and feel the energy as the strings swirl up your emotions. That's why when you fall in love with a woman, all the poets say she pulled my heart strings.
Wow.
Because life is a song. And We understood that when we created our own music and when we owned the labels and when we made the final decision over what happened to music. So in the 80s, what happened? Philadelphia International, it was bad economic times in the music industry as you got to the late 70s. Maurice White had to give up his ARC label. Motown gave his distribution to MCA. Philadelphia International, for the most part, had to give up its distribution. And by the time you get to the early 80s, all of the black-owned record labels were either sold or under the distribution of a white company. So when that happened, when the white folks took over, they took our fucking music. They took the strings. Then they took the drums. And we need the drums because it's a heartbeat. The heartbeat, the drums emulate the earth element of the universe. Your strings are the wind, your drums are the earth, your drums and bass. A lot of your drums and bass got taken out of actual drummers and bass players and given the response and put on a machine, a program. And then they replaced the bass later on with the 808, which is an unnatural sound that conflicts with how your body resonates. So you took the bass out, you take the drums out. And then at least in the 80s, you're still dealing with power singers. In the 80s, you still got Stephanie Mills, you still got Michelet, you still got all of these greats. You got Luther Vandross on the male side of the game, Freddie Jackson. You got Teddy P got in that car accident by then. Marvin Gaye was gone and dead, killed by his father April 1st, 1984. You ever wondered, like, when Marvin Gaye got killed by his dad, did his dad say, "I love you, son," and then say, "April Fools," bang? That joke was crass, my bad.
Oh, Lord.
I was be wondering, because he got killed on April Fool's Day by his dad, the great Marvin Gaye. Back to the...
Wait, what is his dad?
Cross-dressing.
Yeah.
Cross-dressing. Marvin Gaye's dad was a cross-dressing preacher.
Oh, that's...
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah. So...
Somebody talking about not funny, Dwann. Oh, you too.
My bad. So, I just looked at the chat room for the first time. Sarah said, "Calm your fingers down and listen."
Yeah.
I ain't been looking at the chat room. My bad. What's up, chat room? I ain't been looking at y'all. It's a space to get through me. Like, I'm on this camera right here. You can get through. You good? So salute to the chat room. That's very rude of me not to acknowledge you guys in the chat room. My bad. What's up, D Will? What's up, Tierra Dynamite? I ain't even been looking at the chat room because, like, this camera I'm on right now got the TV over there and the camera right here. And,
sorry.
Yeah, shit. But my bad, chat room. How rude of me not to acknowledge you guys. I'm sorry. Because again, I know. Now back to what I was talking about, because I was on the street. I was talking about. I'm getting back to Bruno Mars. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you guys a story over how our music was over time taken away from us, and it was out of our control. So when you get to the 80s, you still got power singers, but you no longer have live bands, or the bands are half live, half synthetic. They made the Gap band get rid of their band and go with that more synthetic sound. Same thing with Cameo. Cameo was Cameo survived the late 70s because the late 70s was brutal to live bands.
Yeah.
The Ohio Players didn't make it. Earth, Wind & Fire made it, but they broke up. Pardon the Funkadelic, they got to Atomic Dog, then they stumbled out. A lot of those bands, Sly and the Family Stone, Tower of Power, a lot of those bands out of the 70s didn't make it to the 80s because the 80s, they literally stopped signing bands. And the bands who did exist, if they wanted to keep playing, because people forget Zapp was a full band. It wasn't just Roger Troutman. It was the Zapp was a full band. Go back to the music of the late 70s. Do It, Roger. Do it, Roger, do it. That's, it's the full band. But by the time you get to the early 80s, Computer Love, they were like, we ain't signing all these niggas. You better go to that machine over there if you want to work. And so the bands got kicked out, and they have this more synthetic sound in when you get to the 80s. And then when you get to the 90s, they say, fuck the power singing. When Mary J. Blige dropped Real Love, they realized two things. You don't have to have the greatest voice.